Welcome and thank you for joining Navazon's monthly webinar. As a reminder, it's a 45-minute presentation followed by a Q&A period. So if you have any questions, feel free to either type them into the chat or you can send them to me directly. You can unmute yourself when you get to the Q&A period and ask a question then. Right on. Today we've got a good presentation with Alan, Dave, myself, and Colleen's joining us this time to talk a little bit about marketing. So without any further ado, Alan, you want to kick us off?
Excellent. Thank you, Patrick. Amazon updates, including COVID-19. There's constantly updates from Amazon. Every day we're getting a barrage of emails about things that are changing with Amazon, as well as following the media so that we can bring you the updates to best guide your accounts. Things that we'll cover today are Amazon updates and COVID response. COVID is, initially we started these presentations in response then to highlight the COVID response. Now we're finding that COVID is a small portion of the presentation, and we're highlighting things that are changing across Amazon to keep you updated. Those areas include content, operations, and marketing, as well as the Amazon, what we see as an Amazon frontier, where we'll mention new tools and programs that Amazon has either created or we're seeing in the industry or Navazon has created itself to help adapt in this changing environment. And finally, as Patrick mentioned, questions and answers. In terms of Amazon updates, we just have a few for you, and COVID response as well. Some of the most shocking news or largest news that came out in terms of Amazon and COVID was that about 1.44% of Amazon U.S. frontline workforce has tested positive. If you read the initial articles, it was really seen as a very negative thing in the media. However, when you look into the numbers that are presented, Amazon was able to do a study with Johns Hopkins University that shows that if it was a general population, they would have expected 33,000 or almost 34,000 people to have tested positive. And the source one at the bottom of the page is an interesting blog that Amazon does, and it mentions some of the many steps that they're taking. I encourage people that do work at a company to think about reading that blog to see all the things that Amazon has done and possibly incorporate some of those into your workplace. With such a large workforce, safety is an incredibly important factor for Amazon, and they're looking at the data very finely to understand that, as well as to protect their workforce. There have been impacts from the COVID, specifically on Amazon, some of them very negative. Warehouses have closed unexpectedly and product receipt has been delayed in many cases. You may see this on your purchase orders. Some of our clients have had product that wasn't received because a warehouse has been unexpectedly closed. That has decreased significantly in terms of the amount of time that it has occurred, but it does still occur as Amazon finds that that's necessary. And that has, in several cases, delayed the receipt of product. So we like to stay on top of that for our clients and be able to notify you if we see issues happening there, as well as we learn from you and share with others. In terms of disruptions, there have been some disruptions in the supply chain from protests at a few warehouses. There have been some protests staged which end up slowing down the trucks in and out of Amazon, as well as the arrival of employees. On the positive side, Amazon, with its more than 1.3 million frontline employees, they are working. And in an environment where there's vast unemployment, that has been an area where Amazon is focused greatly on safety to ensure that people are able to work in that space. And Amazon has kept products flowing to people that have urgently needed them, including restricting its own sales of products to only essential industries at its detriment to its profit to some extent. And they have committed over $4 billion to develop its own COVID-19 testing. This means that Amazon has not been is developing its own testing capabilities and has over 5,000 people that it's engaged to make sure that it's developing new capabilities rather than tapping into what is available in local economies or local communities. It has its own, and it's created new processes to minimize infection, not just measuring employees' temperatures, but within fulfillment centers, actually recording individuals' steps and movements so that they can contact them if they've been exposed to anybody that maybe has been tested positive, or even if they are asymptomatic. So that enables the identification of affected individuals much faster, and also enables, they've quarantined people so that they can recover before they possibly infect others. Amazon's really developed things ahead of where some other organizations and in many cases governments have been. And it's a large challenge for them, and there are many things that they're taking to, including large investments that they're doing to handle that. At the bottom in the blue there, so while the pandemic is still affecting many operations, Amazon is setting a corporate standard for protecting its employees by publishing what its data is and publishing some of the processes so that other companies can follow them. And they're doing their best to maintain customer orders and sharing sensitive information to protect the public. And that can potentially help every one of the companies out there in the world today. It is Prime Day, or as Patrick mentioned it prior to the conversation, October 13th and 14th are Prime Days. There are 2 days that are Prime Days. It's over 1 million plus deals worldwide for Amazon's 150 plus million Prime members. And if you follow the link later when we publish this presentation, Amazon has their deals listed by category. If you click on that deals word as the presentation is finalized. And then the $50 there in Prime Day credits was something I just learned about, that if Amazon's giving Prime members up to $50 in credits as they purchase things from Whole Foods and other situations to use on Prime Day. So these are things, in addition to deals, Amazon continues to add things to attract not only new members, but also millions of customers to see what Amazon is doing on Prime Day. It provides unique deals on products as well as special discounts on Amazon branded products. And the branded products, in particular, Amazon highly discounts its Echo, its Fire Stick, and other, even the Ring and other products that it has, so that it can bring more people into the Amazon ecosystem per se, so that it encourages people to make voice activated purchases, as well as gives Amazon more data to potentially reach customers with. One thing that has been negative in the media is an article that highlighted or suggested that Amazon's obsession with customer satisfaction may succeed at the expense of its workers. And there they were just questioning Amazon's potential safety as it's trying to push millions and millions of packages through on a rapid period in 2 days. Amazon has very specifically put processes in place to keep people away from each other, and also to minimize the possibility that any infected employees are at work, even if they're asymptomatic. So they're testing tens of thousands of workers each day. The media, though, has highlighted that there is a possible risk of increased infection during these high operation times. Overall, Amazon Prime Day adds new Prime members, and has in the past, and builds loyalty of existing Prime members by offering unique value, whether that's special deals, free media, free music, or other items. Amazon is and has been and is expected to be very successful with Prime Day today. An administrative or reminder of sorts. As we're approaching the end of the year, many companies' contracts with Amazon expire at the end of the year. Some have a different annual cycle. However, many contracts, such as the marketing accrual, damage allowance, and freight allowance, volume incentive rebates, or other optional contracts, many of those go from January 1st to December 31st. And just wanted to provide an update that these next couple of weeks are the only ones that you have an opportunity to file a contact us case if your contracts do end at the end of the year, to suggest that auto renew feature will not be activated if there's any reason that you want to end a contract with Amazon. Some companies have used that as a way to notify Amazon that the auto renew would not be engaged for next year, and some have used that to help get cost increases through when those are necessary. Just a reminder then that Amazon contracts auto-renew annually. And if you need to, tell Amazon what you want to do with them 60 days prior to the auto-renewal. That's typically the contract statement in there. Just want to give everybody that reminder because we're coming up on that deadline.
Right on.
Oh.
Well, thank you, Alan, for those updates. Today, I have some information regarding Amazon attribute audits, some updates to the Amazon stores. There is a new suppression tool in Vendor Central, and I'm going to give an update on SIOC requirements. There was a little bit confusion last month regarding the update, so I've given a couple examples, and there is a change to the 3P seller information policy that we'll get into. With Amazon attribute auditing, in order to achieve sales growth, profitability, and brand excellence on Amazon, you have to make sure that your products are orderable by Amazon, available to customers, indexed in search, and retail ready. So in order to ensure that all of those are in the correct status, you need to take a look at your detail page content. You need to look at your costs. You need to look at list price, availability in Vendor Central, replenishment codes, and backend attributes like your browse nodes or backend search terms. So what we are developing right now is a system that looks at all of these inputs that go into your product and then compares it to what we call a vendor catalog map or the correct values. And that way, anytime we see a value like a cost that goes missing or a list price that has disappeared or an incorrect replenishment code, we can then make an update to the product and keep it in its orderable status. With a couple of items on there like list price, it is important that you are monitoring your list prices because as the years go on and you get cost increases put through, if you're not also increasing your list price, which acts as a ceiling for Amazon's pricing, but you're increasing your cost, you will slowly squeeze down Amazon's margin until the product becomes unprofitable. And we've seen that just by updating your list price, you can remove a profitability suppression on your products. So each one of these areas has a big impact on your catalog. And if you do want to be growing, you want to make sure that customers can get your product. So a couple updates for Amazon stores are some automated features that they've put in. So the one on the left that we have here is a product tile, which automatically takes information from detail pages. So if you're going through and making your Amazon store and you have 500 products that you want to put in there, instead of having to type in a unique title and description for each product, you can simply use a product tile and it'll automatically take the most up-to-date information from your detail page. The other thing that is new is a hide out of stock product option, which allows you to, like it says, hide products that are out of stock. So previously in your Amazon store, if you had products that were unavailable or out of stock, they would show up in your store, and that is it causes a poor customer browsing experience. What this feature does is anytime your products drop out of stock, it hides them and replaces them with an in-stock product. And then as soon as your product comes back in stock, it will be automatically placed back in the store. So it's important to be using these two new features because it allows you to automatically make updates to your store without having to do it yourself. So there are a few things that you can do with data to help optimize your brand store. So they do give you a pretty comprehensive set of metrics in terms of how many visitors you're getting on a page, how many viewers, and the total amount of Halo sales that occur through your store, which they calculate as any sale that occurs within 14 days of viewing your store page. And interesting that you can do with your Amazon store is create unique source tags, which allow you to monitor traffic from different sources and identify the return on ad spend from each source. So an example of that would be if you have an active social media account, either Twitter or Instagram, and you're constantly making posts driving traffic to your Amazon store, you could create a unique source tag that is just for your Twitter marketing. And then you'd be able to see how many customers are actually clicking through that link and then purchasing products. You could do the same with any type of non-Amazon marketing, whether it's your social media on your website or through email marketing campaigns. If you're marketing to the store on Amazon, you want to make sure, like if you're using a sponsored brand ad, you want to make sure that you're driving to a specific page in your Amazon store. So when we talked to a Amazon marketing rep, they told us that advertisers increase their return on ad spend by 23% when linking to a store instead of the default product list page. So over on the right of this slide at the top is an example of a sponsored brand ad. And if you were to click on any one of the images or the titles, that would bring you directly to a product detail page. If you were to click on the logo or on the Shop Finis brand, it will take you to a page that is specifically built with the products that are included in that sponsored brand ad. So this one would only include these products. What Amazon is saying is that if you drive this to your Amazon store, that you will have a increase in your return on ad spend. So customers are more likely to purchase from your Amazon store than they are to purchase from one of those default standard pages that is made. So the call out here is when you are creating sponsored brand ads, make sure that the products are also included in your store. Another update in Amazon stores is the new versions feature, which allows you to create different versions of your store that are posted during specific time periods. So this calendar that I've laid out in the slide is showing a sample Q4 store version layout. So on layout 1, you have your regular store. So that's September through October 13th. And then on Prime Day, you could create a different layout of your store that specifically promotes your products that you have on Prime Day and calls them out. Then once Prime Day is over, you can go back to your regular store, and then you can have another layout that starts on the Turkey 5 so that you're featuring the promos on that page. Another way that you could use stores is if you have seasonal products, say fall, summer, spring, winter, you can have a specific layout for each season that helps show the customers what the products are for that season. Another feature that we see in Vendor Central now is a image suppression tool. So it is sort of hidden. You have to go into Vendor Central, items, upload images, visit the bulk upload image site, and then review the status of images. And once you get in there, there is a little checkbox over here. It's maybe a little bit difficult to see, but you click on suppressed, and then you click on the vendor code that you want to see, and it will tell you if you have any suppressed products due to their image. So common image suppressions will be if it is the wrong product or if the product image has things like text in it. Those are common sources of image suppression that you can see through here. But this is just another feature of Amazon trying to get products that are in the available to customer stage. So they're trying to call out, hey, you have these issues and you can fix them through this. Right now, it's difficult to navigate. That's why I put the sort of file path to get to it, but that is available in Vendor Central. So last month, there was a little bit of confusion on our SIOC announcement. What has happened is the SIOC minimum requirements have changed. So the regular SIOC requirements are if a product is considered what Amazon calls non-sort, which is the longest side is larger than 8 inches, the median side is longer than 14 inches, or the shortest side is longer than 8 inches. Those will be considered non-sort and must be certified in SIOC. If one of the dimensions is over that and they are non-sort, but their longest side is less than 6 inches, their median side is less than 6 inches, or their shortest side is less than 0.375 inches, the product would be excluded from SIOC. So a couple examples we have 20 by 17 by 6. That would be SIOC. 2 of the sides exceed the non-sort dimensions, and none of them are less than the exclusions. Something like this, a 20 inches by 1 inch by 1 inch, would be excluded because the median side is less than 6 inches. Another example of exclusion would be a product that is 15 by 15 by 0.25. So even though it is exceeding the non-sort dimensions, it will be excluded because its shortest side is less than 0.375 inches. Another update that we have is 3P seller information is now being required. So third-party sellers need to put their business name and address on Amazon. So it will help vendors more easily track down who is selling your product. You can find this information by clicking through the other sellers section of the detail page and then clicking on the seller's name, and that will link out to their storefront. Cool. Dave?
Okay, so I'm going to go over the operational changes for this period. Okay, so one of the things that we're seeing right now as we go into Q4 is we're having FC capacity constraints. This is happening at the Amazon warehouses. Basically, what we're hearing is FCs are above 100% capacity. Most of the rumors that we're hearing is that they're 110% capacity. So what that means is basically the FCs have to figure out where they can find space. Sometimes that involves actually bringing in a trailer and storing products inside of a trailer, or just shoving the bins full of as much inventory as they can. Hopefully it's not falling out, because it does lead to some bin problems. But that's what that means essentially. So what we're seeing, at least on the vendor side of things, and how it's affecting you, is ISMs are trying to reduce their weeks of cover as much as they can. So they're trying to get shorter. They're trying not to do that on deal products generally. That's products that they don't consider to be deal specific. Or another example, on new products too, they might start to limit the number of new products that they bring into the FC. So those two things can be happening here, at least as you go into Q4, basically. Amazon's doing that just because they need to figure out, they have to get stuff out the door in order to make space for the new products coming in. How it's affecting you also is, at least if you're either prepaid, or if you're paying for, so if you're paying for freight, or if Amazon's paying for freight, what that can mean is that Amazon will keep pushing out delivery appointments for your carriers, or if Amazon's paying for the freight, they'll push out the pickup day. Again, that's happening because the FCs are trying to make space. They're trying to figure out, when they can receive a trailer, because they're basically filling up all their dock doors, or their FC is at capacity, and so they're just trying to schedule those out there and push those out further before that inventory gets in. So as we mentioned, that's reducing your weeks of covers. It's reducing the purchase orders of new products, and then it's also sometimes restricting vendor central abilities, such as like Born to Run. So if you're trying to submit a large number of units to the Born to Run program, Amazon might limit you and push you back for that. Especially as we get closer to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, when they might even go up above that 110% capacity. You'll want to try and get as many Born to Run orders as you can, or make sure your weeks to cover at least are up there to what you think is necessary for that, because Amazon might restrict that program even further. Just an example here, we've seen in some of the FCs, such as like in Texas and South Carolina, they actually end up refusing pickups just because of that, because they're at capacity. So Amazon's trying to route those to different FCs, and that's causing some trouble with carriers in that area. So as we mentioned, suggested actions in order to try and combat this is if you have dropship, load as much inventory as you can for dropship, because that way if Amazon does end up reducing your weeks of cover on products, or on new products that are limiting that and they're not buying that up, dropship can kind of fill that gap. So you still have products available during Q4 if there's a spike, or if you have a new product that's launched at that time and you can't figure out a way to get into an Amazon FC. Try and do any Born to Runs or bulk buys right now that you can, just to get your weeks of cover up whenever possible. And then also another thing is, if you're doing promotions during the Q4 period, that will lift your forecast. If you're trying not to run anything during Black Friday or Cyber Monday, you do a promotion beforehand, even if it's a small discount, it'll cause a lift in Amazon's forecast, and they'll actually buy more inventory too. So that's another strategy. And then of course, if your carriers end up having trouble, the first response should be use a ticket. Now, if the carrier is actually sitting there trying to get a delivery appointment, or something happened there, you can actually call NOC down there, that 1-866-203-8372. Generally, I would say only use that if they're actually sitting there, or if it's a major problem taking up your space, because what happens is NOC a lot of times will just put a ticket in, and then they'll be waiting for the carrier to get back to you, or a response from the FC. So it might just take 24 hours and the ticket might be the fastest way. But if you're not getting an answer on the ticket, or if you're having some type of trouble still, definitely call them. They can normally speed things up a little bit more. So even though there's some limitations on this, as Amazon hits capacity during Q4, there are some things you can do to basically adjust and try and manage this as best as possible from the vendor side of things. Another thing too that we mentioned on previous slides, but wanted to mention it again, is the bulk buy offers tool. So this is actually a program within the vendor initiated offers. So if you go in there and you see it in the Born to Run program, some vendors are having the option too now where they can submit bulk buys. If you don't have that option, you can try and get added to the program. Right now, they're trying to limit it as they go into Q4 because of the capacity constraints, but you can still try and get a request in through your VM. If you're not able to get one right now, you can always get it after Q4. And if the VM is not responsible or you don't have one, you can always reach out to the team itself. They're going to be vio-help@amazon.com. So the way that the program is working here is I gave you basically a snapshot down here at the bottom, but any ASIN that's receiving POs is eligible, and you actually pick the ship and delivery window for those POs. What you do is you go in and you submit a maximum discount or maximum final cost, and then you do a minimum and a maximum quantity as well, and then Amazon will basically say if that's acceptable or not, and then they'll pick something within that min and max quantity. So the greater the range, actually, in the min and max quantity, the higher likelihood that you'll get accepted, because normally Amazon would want to order more if you give or I should say, the less that they get there, so the min quantity, the higher the discount, they'll try and pick that normally. They'll normally go towards the min more than the max, but if you give them a good enough range here, they'll see what the system says and decide if they want to buy it or not. So main thing there with the bulk buy offers, it's similar to the Born to Run program, of course, where you're just trying to get that inventory into the FC. One of the nice things, of course, is the fact that you can pick that ship delivery window where the Born to Run is going to be right now at that period of time. Another program here that we wanted to mention real quick is that Amazon's now launching a climate pledge friendly program. There's only two options basically. You have to be brand registered in order to be in the program, and then the other thing is the product has to meet whatever the actual requirement is. So if it's an energy efficient type program, you have to meet whatever that threshold is, and then you can actually be there or be included in the program. There's a total right now of 18 certifications by third-party bodies. And then the main point of the program, of course, is just to make it so that consumers can find sustainable products as consumers are demanding that more from places like Amazon. We expect in the future sometime that it will actually include probably a feature on the side where you can shop by these products, and it'll make those products more likely for consumers to buy them going forward.
So I'll be doing your marketing updates today. We're excited to tell you about what's new on the advertising platform. We're here to help you stand out in search and showcase your brand and to grow your brand SEO online. Since we have a various group joining us today, a diverse group, I'd like to provide just a brief overview of what Amazon offers currently. The first type of ad is called the sponsored product ad. These advertisements capture shoppers who are actively searching your related keywords or viewing similar products on Amazon. These ads use the Amazon algorithm with auto-targeting. We have manual keyword targeting, product and category targeting also in that ad type. The second type is the sponsored brand ad, and these ads feature your brand logo, a custom headline, and up to 3 of your products. These ads help shoppers to discover your brand and products, and up to 3, like I said, 3 of your products. This offers you the ability to use rich and engaging creatives. The third type there is the sponsored display ad. This helps you grow your business by reaching your relevant audiences on and sometimes off of Amazon. These ads are the newer ones. They are just out of beta. They offer 10 different ad type creatives. They target categories, products, audiences, and other areas like views. So I'd like to briefly highlight the cool new additions, and this is specifically in the sponsored brand and sponsored display category types. So it is great to have the video option in sponsored brand ads now. So sponsored brand ads, they drive the shoppers to discover your brand and your products. So these originally were limited to just 3 ASIN photos, a headline, and a logo. And we're excited that now Amazon's added a video feature option. It's created within the sponsored brand console. It allows one video to showcase one ASIN, and the ad appears on search pages. It utilizes the same cost structure, the cost per click structure, as the original ad features. Now, some of the Amazon use cases that we have used in Navazon include, it's pretty exciting. We've told a brand's story. We've used it in a seasonality type video in use cases. We've used it for a new release for brand products, and we found it to be helpful to a highly detailed, specific product to tell the story in greater depth. It is an ASIN that was rather very specific, and we found that the video was very engaging and helpful. So some interesting things to know about it. The viewing begins on mute. So the sound is disabled. It can be turned on with the volume option. So pro tip number 1, since it begins in mute, we suggest that you highly engage your shopper quickly. Mainly a high action start full of vivid color and motion that captures their attention quickly so they can't just scroll past it, you know. We also suggest that you use content that can tell the story without the use of sound, because obviously if they don't click the sound on, you still want them to understand what you're saying. So remember, short, to the point, and high intensity in your videos. So in line with Amazon's customer-centric business model and in response to the growing number of mobile device shopping, Amazon's now enhanced the sponsored brand ads to include customized creatives from mobile ads. This really enhances the customer shopping experience. We're really excited to see these. We have 3 offered here, and as you can see, they offer vibrant colors, clear images, and excellent photography. Who wouldn't want to explore this brand, right? These custom creatives also come with a headline, a logo, and badges. The placements are on shopping results. We do see those at the top of mobile shopping. And our pro tip number 2, we suggest using this ad type with your ASINs that have greater than 3.5 to 4 star raters. Greater, because as you can see, your star ratings are really important to get you noticed and in line with the customer. The next slide will show a new creative customization that's available in sponsored display ads. So sponsored display ads reach relevant audiences in their shopping and decision-making journey. This is another example of Amazon enhancing your shopping experience. The display ad creation platform has added, this used to only allow you to have the image itself, and Amazon created the ad for you. Now this has a customizable creative, a headline, and a logo. So we're pretty excited about the amount of changes that have happened here. As you can see, you could customize this logo for effective targeting or testing callouts. This advertisement promotes a single ASIN at a time, but it's very effective in building brand presence. Excuse me. This placement used to only be available for US sellers and vendors, and now it's available to our other platforms, EU, and you can see there UK, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Canada, Japan, and growing. So let's see, pro tip number 3. Sponsored display ads come with the badge callouts also, such as best deal or vendor coupons. So be sure to use this ad to showcase your deals. The key takeaways here, we're finding there's a direct correlation between adding higher quality creatives and your advertising, increasing your conversion rate and ROI. So I want to send you with some takeaways. Of course, use your high quality content to engage your customers. And remember, Amazon's always updating their advertising platform, so you should take advantage of it. These capabilities are available at no additional charge above the original cost per click cost structure. And Navazon is here to help you do that. In summation, Amazon is and will continue to keep pace with customer expectations, shopping trends, and the increasing shoppers online. Navazon will be here to help increase your brand presence, loyalty, and create sales and increase ROI. Have a great day and passed back on.
Right on.
Next section.
Thank you very much, Colleen. It was awesome. So the next section we call Amazon Frontier. It's for new tools and programs. And today we're going to look at a few new tools. One of them is Amazon Live, and another one is Amazon Attribution and their API. So Amazon Live is a way to get discovered and interact with your customers on Amazon. Right now, you can see there are, on the Prime's deals page, there are a lot of Amazon Live videos active right now. Essentially, it is a live streaming platform where you can promote your products. It looks very similar in production to infomercials. So a lot of the live streams are someone talking about the product or unboxing it or letting you know about the features of the product. So the main benefits that Amazon calls out with these, it helps you get discovered. It helps you interact with customers, grow a following, drive urgency, and drive sales. With Amazon Live, there's two options on how to create these. You can either have Amazon produce your content. So you give them a product for them to offer on their platform, and then they will produce a video, or you can produce the Amazon Live videos yourself. So you just need to download the Amazon Live app, and then there's a little bit of equipment that you need in order to do that. You would want a camera with an interface that brings your camera into a laptop so that you can get high quality content posted to Amazon instead of you can do it on your phone, but the difference in quality is pretty stark because a lot of the things that Amazon does has really high quality images. So you're going to want to use a high quality setup to get that similar quality. There is a program right now called Amazon Attribution, which allows you to track the effectiveness of your external marketing campaigns. So whether you're using Google, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, links on your own website, or Constant Contact or some other email marketing service to drive traffic to Amazon, if you use an Amazon attribution link, it will show you the amount of impressions, clicks, views, add to carts, sales, and purchases that you get from those campaigns. The difference in sales and purchases is sales would be the dollar value, and purchases is the products that are purchased. So you'd be able to see if there's additional products that customers are buying as they're clicking through your links. What this helps you do is establish a more accurate return on ad spend for each one of your different channels if you're driving them to on. What the API allows you to do is programmatically process all of this data without having to go pull it manually. So what some companies have used the API for is to automatically pull down data and then look at which channels are, like what channel has the highest ROI, and then you can edit your budgets accordingly to say, okay, we want to divert more of our budget to this channel since we're seeing the return on ad spend is higher. You can also use it to, like, similar to what you do on Amazon when you look through your campaigns, you can pause campaigns that are not performing or divert budgets to campaigns that are performing. You could use this API to do that. Cool. So now we are going to move on to the questions and answers portion. And so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them right now. Looks like there was one that was sent to me. The sales have been light in the past few weeks. Have you seen this across other accounts? I think.
I'll take that one, Patrick. It has been interesting. We've seen lower POs and lower sales across some of our clients' accounts over the last couple of weeks. And we've seen that associated in the past years with customers holding off on purchases. Since Prime Day has been known now for several weeks, people like myself, I've made a list of products that I'm going to buy on Prime Day. So I've already purchased 2 today, and we expect many customers have done the same. They've likely held off purchases that they otherwise would have made in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and they're looking to see if those products are available on a deal on Prime Day. So we anticipate that the sales and purchase orders that might have traditionally been seen in past weeks, ideally those will flow into this week as people are looking for those products on Prime Day or otherwise purchase them.
Nice. And then I had another one about attribute audits. So it's for attribute audits, how often should we be doing this? And so with attribute audits, in an ideal world, you would be able to consistently accomplish this task where you always knew your products they had the correct replenishment codes, they had the correct costs, the detail page content was correct. Currently, Navazon has a system that processes these audits at a weekly and a monthly basis. And so with that, you'd be able to catch anything as they happen, not instantaneously, but within the week. So if you are doing it with sort of an automated process like we have, doing it on a weekly basis is, I mean, that's where the data is available. But if you are auditing your catalog manually such that you are looking through each detail page individually, there's no way you'll have enough time to do it that way. So we would suggest in that case, probably like a quarterly or yearly if you're looking at every single detail page in your catalog. But again, we have a process where we can look at all of that information on a weekly basis.
That's a great point, Patrick, that we want to be looking at this data as quickly as we possibly can. And so as a company, we are working with Amazon directly to see if we can get access to that data to potentially, and ideally in future months, be able to see when product suppressions happen on a daily basis or even hourly basis if we're able to get direct access to Amazon's catalog data. Some of that Amazon's developing the capability, and we've got a direct contact with one of their software teams to try to make that capability available to all of our clients. We look forward to being able to do that and speeding up the audit process, because we've, in particular, over the last presentations, over the last few months and weeks, we've mentioned things such as compliance, pesticide issues, brand registry controls, image suppressions that can lead to product suppressions. With these additional items that Amazon has put out just in the last few months, we've seen a spike in product suppressions, and that's really important to monitor. That's a great question to bring out and information to share.
Right on. Thank you, Alan. So looks like we don't have any other questions, so we can move on into the key takeaways.
Navazon's always working to bring ideas to you for sales growth, profit, and brand excellence, which are the items there on the right-hand side. And we do that through our core competencies of content, data insights, marketing, and Amazon expertise. The key takeaways from this month, we see that content auditing will help you ensure your catalog is available to customers. Those product suppressions, as we've mentioned, have been spiking in the last 2 months in particular. So we have a very fine focus on making sure that products are available and ready to sell. The Amazon stores, as Patrick mentioned, continue to add features. It's just incredible the amount of content that Amazon is now allowing to be added, from images to videos to additional content the updates there are continually being added and will increasingly help brands over time, and Amazon realizes the importance of that. On the operations side, Amazon is over capacity during Q4, so drop ship and born to run can be really important to this period to keep you in stock. We keep our eyes on weeks of cover for our clients to make sure that weeks of cover are good. If they're not, we do use those tools, and we recommend that for other people as well. On Amazon's advertising platform, as Colleen mentioned, it's rapidly expanding its capabilities. Amazon has added hundreds of people in Amazon advertising, and equally on the software side and development side to add new features and encourage brands to highlight their products by adding those new features and capabilities. All of this to bring more product and more information to customers so that they can make better decisions. We bring these options and new developments to Amazon in the presentation so that you're aware of what's going on, and sometimes that information can then help you make links within your company and bring us information to make programs and processes happen even better. There's information that we're not, that's only available to you in some of your companies, and new programs that start in your companies that might really be able to leverage some of these new features. So we really enjoy sharing these each month. And just as we close out, there are some great deals out there on pool chemicals, up to 20% off. If you have a pool, we have a client that is Comply Foam. If you have an Apple AirPods earbud tips that you need for your, that's up to 20% off. And if you need a Certa foam topper or pillow, there are great deals out there today on many products, and we encourage you to take a look at them. Thank you for joining us today.